What's up, guys? This is SC Ayala for SC Ayala Talk. I want to welcome you guys back. This evening, we will be going over page 19. We are on a journey with my book, Lovesick Pages of a Poetic Heart, by yours truly, SC Ayala. And I want to thank you for joining me, for everyone who has been listening. I just want to say thank you again. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notifications so that you never miss an episode. And again, without further ado, we'll be on page 19 today. So if you got the book, go ahead and follow along. The title tonight is called You Inspire Me, GG03. Let's get into it. You inspire me to write like I do. You inspire me to be a better person to you. You inspire me to be the best mom I can be. You inspire me to be the greatest friend I can possibly be. You inspire me to love so easily. You inspire me to give wholeheartedly. You inspire me to want to give more of myself unselfishly. And you inspire me to love you unconditionally. All right, so that was You Inspire Me, GG03, page 19. And so let's get to the backstory. So that was actually about my two girls. I have two daughters, one named Gina and one named Janelle, hence the GG. And this was about a year into Nellie's life and 2 years into Gina's life. And I was just kind of watching the two kind of zip around the house and chase each other and get on each other's nerves. And, I just remember feeling like, wow, like I really did this. Because to give you some insight, my other ones, I should say the three that came before them, are technically about 3.5 years apart. And Gina and Janelle decided that they were going to be 13 months apart. I believe there's an old phrase, they call them Irish twins, where they're within a year apart from each other. And it was really funny because my sister-in-law at the time worked at the doctor's office, and I thought I was ready to shut down the machine and everything, and that was it. Wasn't having any more after Gina. And I went in, I wasn't feeling too good, and had some blood work done, and my sister-in-law had called and was like, "Hey, congratulations." And I was like, "Oh, well, okay, thank you. Like, what'd I win?" I thought she was just going to tell me it's some flu or something, and I was going to take some, prescription or something. And she was like, "Hey, you're pregnant." And I was like, "Whoa, wait, what?" And I just remember thinking, I just had a baby. I was just pregnant. What are you talking about? And I really thought she was being funny. And I was like, "No, you're pregnant." And she was like, "No, really, sis, you're pregnant." I was like, "No, can't be." And I thought at the time my brother may have put her up to it. I thought maybe my brother Ruben had, said, "Hey, call her, let's prank her," or something. He was always good for doing that kind of stuff, But she was like, "No, it's you're pregnant." And I just remember that feeling of like, oh man, I can't do this. I'm a little bit older. I was pushing 30 at the time, and I just remember thinking to myself, what am I going to do with two babies? And I really felt like I don't know what I just got myself into. But needless to say, called their dad and broke the news. And, of course, he was ecstatic. And I just started crying. I was like, "How could you do this to me?" And obviously we know how it happens and why it happens. And, everything turned out great. Janelle was born, just a year after Gina. They're exactly 13 months apart. And they were just zipping around the house that day. And I just remember looking at them and thinking, wow, this wasn't so bad after all. They were just having the best time while the other three were already in school, and they were just running around living their best life. And I was just laughing. And, I think I was folding clothes or something in the living room. And I remember just seeing them just dancing and holding each other and jumping up and down. And, there was something on the television, some cartoon that was playing songs. And, you know, it was a perfect moment. It was almost as if nothing at that moment could have been bitter or bad in the world. It was just perfect. They were just perfect. And as parents, I think sometimes we get so caught up in our dailies and, the things that, are going on, that sometimes we forget just how blessed and how perfect, life really is. And I think just as people, a lot of times we don't really truly appreciate all the beauty that life gives us. Every day we wake up, you got a perfect sunset, a sunrise, you got a perfect evening, with the moon just shining. And, if you just look around and, take in all the natural beauty, even in the city, you can find a little tree trying to poke out. You can find some greenery. I know everybody that's living in LA right now is probably like, bro, there's nothing out here, but there is. You just got to look deeper. And sometimes you got to look deeper within yourself for that same type of beauty. A lot of times it could be something simple as your children or your child or your pets. A lot of people I know have fur babies. You could just be sitting in a room with someone you care about, someone you love, grandparent, niece, nephew, it doesn't even matter. And just kind of glance over at them when they're not really paying attention to you, and just look at the beauty. I remember sitting in my grandmother's living room, and wow, this was probably over 30 years ago, and thinking to myself, she's the most beautiful person on the planet. Not because, she was all dressed up and getting ready to go out looking like Marilyn Monroe or anything like that, but because she had on, a little worn, tattered sweater with what, one of her little moo dresses on, and thinking to myself, she's just perfect. She's totally perfect, because the love that I felt, and in honoring that same kind of love she gave me was the same kind of love I was feeling that day, watching my two youngest run around the house like Chippendale, squirrels, just being all squirrely, girly, and just enjoying their best life, and just thinking to myself, wow, this is pretty cool. And in return, I just started writing. I actually just took a little piece of paper and started to write that. And then I just kind of put it aside. And when I decided to put it in the book, it was short, but it was sweet. And it was perfectly inspired by both my girls. So that's the backstory to that. And this is page 19. You Inspire Me, GG03. And the 03 is for 2003. So again, I'm SC Ayala, and you're listening to SC Ayala Talk. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment if you like, and don't forget to turn on the bell notification. And I'll see you on the next one.